guys, and welcome to a weekly wrap-up where Gretchen showed up. She's back. She left me for a little while, but she came back. I got so scared she was going to be gone forever. But she's here, and she's going to talk to you, but not until later in the video because she wasn't here for the first half of this week, and I was. I got you guys. I got you. On Monday, I put out a video where I discussed the issues I have with fantasy. So I discussed a couple of examples of different types of fantasy books that I have picked up, haven't been able to finish, or had certain problems with, and I discussed sort of why I thought that was, or worked through the thinking of why that was. So if any of you have some really good fantasy recommendations, go watch that video and leave them in the comments, because I'm looking for some good stuff, because I keep having issues, and I would like to not have issues. On Tuesday, I did the exact opposite. I talked about the horror books that I love. Gretchen does not love horror, so I did a Betwixt the Books recommends where I recommended some of the horror I think is good to start with if you are not big into horror but would like to be. And I talked about a couple different types of horror books, ranging from classic to Stephen King in general, to psychological, to whatever you might like. My top 5 books to start with when you're going with horror. On Wednesday, I did a review of Tokyo Ghost by Rick Remender and an artist whose name I am forgetting, but it was written by Rick Remender, who is one of my favorite comic book writers. Low is my very favorite comic of all time, and this is a new series that he has started with Image. I actually really enjoyed it. If you are a fan of post-apocalypse or dystopias that are technology-based, where sort of people are controlled through technology, this one particularly focuses on a theme of addiction when it comes to technology, but I think it's done quite well. It is very violent. It's definitely rated M for mature, and let comics get rated like video games, so definitely M for mature. If you don't like sexual themes, violent themes, maybe don't pick it up. But I really enjoyed it. If you want to know my thoughts more in detail, I will link that post down below.
Hi guys, I'm back! I made it! I'm here! I'm super sunburned, and I realized that I wore a shirt that basically matched the color of my face. Actually, I think my face is redder. Whatever! It doesn't matter, because on Thursday, I came back to the post that was not a Thesis Thursday. It was actually me talking about the crazy adventure that Rachel and I had while we were on our road trip going from LA to Seattle and back, and it was crazy. I thought I was gonna die, our car got broken into, and it was also really, really fun, and I shared pictures and everything like that. So, you know, if you're interested in hearing about how that road trip went, you should read that. And then I'll actually talk on Monday about how my reading during that road trip went and why that was interesting to me. So, yay, road trips!
Some of you might know, although others might not, that I started a new job on Monday. So I, on Friday, discussed my first week of working in a library. I am a library assistant stationed in the circulation department, so most of my duties are behind the circulation desk. In the future, I will also be in charge of the social media associated with the library, which I'm super excited for, but they wanted me to sort of get settled in and get a handle on the main job I'm going to be doing before I do anything else. I discussed some of the things that happened this week and some of the highlights and lowlights, if you will, of working in a library. So if you are curious about that, again, the post is linked down below and you can go see that.
On Friday, I did a series review of the Blooming Goddess series by Tallulah Darling. This is a series that I was part of the blog tour for the first book in that series, My Ex from Hell, when it first came out. And then over the years, I've acquired the 2 sequels, My Date from Hell, which is book number 2, and My Life from Hell, which is book number 3. If you can't tell, there is a theme there, and that is because this is a retelling of the sort of Hades and Persephone myth, except for in this one, Persephone was never in love with Hades, she was in love with his son, and it goes on from there. I honestly, like, they are the greatest B-rated books that are just fun to read, and so I really wanted to do a review of the rest of that series since I had talked about the first book, and also since I kind of reread the last 2 books in the series while I was on break. So check that out if you want to see how that whole series pans out.
And then on Saturday we had an Imbibliomancy live stream. It was my pick, Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. Because this video is coming out Saturday morning, it is before the live stream, but if you are seeing this on the blog, it has come out on Sunday and that live stream has already happened, which is why I'm going to say what I'm going to say. If you have not seen it, go back and watch that. If it's about to happen, set a reminder for yourself. We're going to be doing it. If you want to know the exact time, because sometimes we have to push it a little bit based on different things, definitely follow us on Twitter. Please come hang out with us and talk about books, because we enjoy doing that. Taylor's going to be there. We're going to be slightly drunk and talking about this post-apocalyptic book about Shakespearean actors and performers, and it's going to be glorious because it hasn't happened yet, but it will, and I know it will be.
Welcome to the part of the video where we talk about the books we read this week. And guess what, guys? I'm back with 2 weeks worth of books, which means that I only read like 4 or 5 books. Good job, me. I will talk about how this happened a little bit more in my From the Notebook on Monday. But so for right now, I'm just going to tell you the books that I read, period. As I already hinted, a couple of the books that I reread over break were My Date from Hell and My Life from Hell by Tallulah Darling, the last 2 books in the Blooming Goddess series. And again, not going to say too much about that because if you want to know my thoughts, you should check out my review. Go with the quickies. Go, go. In the same vein, I also reread on break Goddess Interrupted by Amy Carter. This is the second book in her retelling of Hades and Persephone. It's a trilogy. There's 3 books. I will probably actually be doing a series review of that series at some point pretty soon because, the way that series ended, man. But I love the second book. I think that it's wonderful, and look forward to seeing that series review from me fairly soon. I finally read one of my arcs called Tell the Wind and Fire by Sarah Reese Brennan. I was super duper excited to have gotten this arc. It comes out in the beginning of April, so my review will be out April 1st. So I'm not going to say too much other than if you follow my Goodreads, you know that this book was really hard for me to get through, and I was really disappointed. And, yeah. I honestly wasn't sure if I was going to have to DNF it or not. So it was a struggle. Got better in the end, but the beginning was a process. And then, surprise, surprise, I also read this week Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. Finally! This video is pre-recorded, and so I may have not even started that book yet, even though we're doing that live stream in like 48 hours. So, good job, me! But by the time you see this video, it will be read, or basically read if you read this Saturday morning. Maybe I won't have read it all the way yet, but you know, it'll be done by Sunday. So, that's the important thing.
I was here last week, so you already knew what I read then, but I'm going to talk about the stuff that I read just this week. The first book that I took out from the library that I'm working at is The Blue Girl by Lauren Foos. I read this on Friday because librarians in my library get Good Friday off, paid. I have never been paid to not go to work. I am so excited about that. Woo. I sit and read this. I saw it on Under the Radar Books channel. It sounded interesting. It's a magical realism book about a town, basically, where all of the mothers feed their secrets to mysterious blue girls in whoopie pies. That's all you need to know. Go and get this. If you follow me on Twitter, you will know that I have found the comic shop home that I needed here back home because I have sort of been in limbo. I picked up a bunch of comics that I was behind on, and while I did not finish any volumes, because these are all currently running series, I have read 6 comics, which is about how many go into trade, so I'm counting it. I'm counting it. It's counted. You saw it. Those 3 comics are in order Low, which is one of my favorite comics, so definitely go check that out if you haven't already. The first 2 are in trades. This is the start of the 3rd volume. That is followed by Pretty Deadly. The first volume is out. You can go pick it up. I've done a review. That's down below. This is the start of the 2nd volume. A+. So good. Frame narrative. Interesting story about, like, basically Reapers. It's good. And finally, Wicked and the Divine. This is sort of a weird one. The first 2 volumes are out, but these comics are sort of vignettes of a story with different artists doing them. They sort of get into more details about the gods than has previously been shown because we've sort of been on the outside. I'm not sure how I feel about this yet. I will let you know when I've read all of them. And the last thing I read is a bit of a weird thing, but it is a cookbook. In fact, it's the Thug Kitchen cookbook, Eat Like You Give a Fuck. This is vegan/vegetarian. I'm pretty sure it's vegan food. The reason I picked this up is that I have become lactose intolerant and need to find delicious recipes that do not use milk, which I do not have in my repertoire. So I picked this up and I read it, and there are so many delicious things in here, guys. If you are a foodie, definitely check this out, even if you're not vegetarian or vegan or have any allergies. This is a thing to look at just because it's delicious. It doesn't need to have meat to be delicious. Some food is just good the way it is. That's the last thing I read. There you go.
So there you have it, guys. Finally, a weekly wrap-up where I exist and I'm not making Michaela carry the weight of both of our blogs on her back, because I feel really bad about that. I know that you guys didn't miss me because Michaela is plenty enough on her own, but sorry guys, you didn't get rid of me, so I'm here back to stay. That is until, April hits and life becomes hell again. So, haha! Anyways, that's all we have for right now, folks. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!